What do you make of the latest statement coming out jointly by all the SCO members just minutes ago? One of the things it talked about is to face up together new challenges and new threats. How should we understand this?
I think it should be understood in a more wider context because the world has changed. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization was created 16 years ago, and those days the main challenge was to coordinate Russia and China activity in Eurasia. And the threat of terrorism was not that severe as it is now. And what we have now is a completely new international environment with United States withdrawing from the process of globalization, and this terrorist threat is increasingly posing more and more threats. So as in the beginning, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the main threat, the main challenge was to coordinate the activity of its members within Eurasia. But now the bigger threats are coming from outside of this. So it's a process of deglobalization, and it's international terrorism. So that's why the threats, challenges are really new.
And there are some new phrases also in the statement. If I could put that question to you, Professor Wang, in that statement, there's something called non-inseparable security. What does that mean? That is something that has never appeared in a statement of SCO countries. Inseparable security for one another.
I think this echoed the new security concept, the overall security, comprehensive security, sustainable security, and cooperative security. Particularly, the security is overall, is unseparated. For instance, if you focus on the security in anti-terrorism, actually you should focus on the source of the terrorism, that the financially cut. Also, unseparately, if you focus on the non-proliferation, you can all have that discriminative that support some countries have the nuclear, but against some other countries. So I think this is a principle. It's very important to make the security more justice and to solve this problem more comprehensively and sustainably.
Even the two previous panelists have been using some quite abstract words, but certainly there are a lot of statements going on here in this joint statement. Let me go to you, Professor Nalapat. How do you read sound abstract and yet unprecedented phrases being used here?
Well, I'd like to say, first of all, that it's good that India and Pakistan have joined the SCO. I think it's good for the SCO and it's good for India and Pakistan that they both become members. And I do strongly believe that Iran also should be admitted as a member as early as possible. So I think this indicates the two big powers of SCO, the founders of SCO are Russia and China. And I think this indicates the fact that both Russia and China supported these two countries coming in. And today, especially, my Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thanked Chinese President Xi Jinping for strongly supporting India joining the SCO. So I think it's a good sign that the SCO has been expanded, and I do believe that this expansion will pave the way for a lot more cooperation and coordination.
We're going to talk about the expansion of SCO a bit later, but let's focus right now on terrorism. We understand there are some recent cases involving the SCO countries that have a lot to do with the latest development of terrorism and anti-terrorism movement. China's Foreign Ministry, for example, says today Pakistan has told them that the two Chinese citizens kidnapped in southwest Pakistan may have been killed. Earlier, terrorist groups ISIL's news agency released information stating that the two hostages, who were reportedly language teachers from China, were held in a province in Pakistan and were killed last month. The ministry from China's Foreign Affairs reinforced China's stance on this.
Relevant Pakistani authorities have provided China with some information and said that the two kidnapped Chinese citizens may have unfortunately been killed. To this, we are paying close attention. We will speedily verify and understand the relevant situation. China is firmly against and strongly condemns all kinds of terrorism.
That is China's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman. So, Professor Wang, this is a very sad news for Chinese. Of course, 2 Chinese citizens being killed in Pakistan. ISO claimed the responsibility. Will SCO in the future be able to help with devastating situation like this?
Definitely. Traditionally, SCOs focus on anti-3 evils, the terrorism, separatism, and the fundamentalism. But now the terrorism cross-border. It's more from the ISOs, and so that reason Pakistan and India joins very important, and also Afghanistan is the observer country. Maybe in the future Iran join and make the SCO expanded their functions, and also to help to facilitate the strategies. They're working with the Belt and Road Initiative, the mutual connectivity. I think the fundamentally solve the problems from the development economy and also more people contact.
But Mr. Mikhalev, what is it, the existing system among the SCO countries that could help us to prevent events and incidents like this for the future? Is the SCO, in a way, grouping strong enough to do the job that they claim to do? Dr. Mikhalev.
Thank you. The current system for anti-terrorist activity is actually very loose. So what we can speak about is just an exchange of information or just common intentions. But there is no real working mechanism for prevention, terrorism, or for coordination of security forces. And that is, I believe, one of the main questions in today's agenda. So how to make SCO, how to make Shanghai Cooperation Organization to be more effective in preventing military threats, not just speaking about economic cooperation. That used to be the main topic of discussions before. So what we need to do, what the SCO countries need to do, is to create the mechanisms that would allow them to have joint operations and to really combine the forces, combine the intelligence, and fight the terrorism, which is international already, and fight it together.
Professor Wang, I want to come back to you because in the specific statement, which I just got right before coming into the studio, there are specific sentences indicating the latest development, talking about SCO member countries should work together when it comes to anti-terrorism with much more efficiency than it used to be, and also complemented with relevant regulations and laws, legislations as well in their relative countries. This will help or not? Much or not at all?
No, definitely. I think this joint statement, I think lots of achievements, I think remarkable achievements, not just except India and Pakistan, but also the focus on anti-terrorism and also focus on the cooperations, NPT, and also financial cooperation and globalization, mentioned many things. For the anti-terrorism cooperations, for a long time, SCO focused on the military exercises and joint forces and the policemen training and that capacity building. But now focus the sources, the reason, the roots of the terrorism. That's the poverty and that's of the finance. So and also focus on the working mechanism and also think about the coordination between SCO and other international organizations. I think this is very important step, particularly after India and Pakistan joined.
Right.
They also have the cross-border terrorism, but they have the strong linkage with the ISO and other external forces.
Right.
So
I want to come back to Professor Mikhalev. Of course, I will go to Professor Nalapat a bit later when we talk about the expansion of SCO. But for Russia, Dr. Mikhalev, you specifically are working on the anti-terrorism and also crisis management. Russian President Vladimir Putin has been suggesting that there can be a revival of the 2009 special Afghan working group within SCO in order to push forward more about the anti-terrorism situation in Pakistan and also in the border between in Afghanistan, also in the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Will they work? Are there some other specific initiative that you think, as anti-terrorism expert, are also important to be put into the agenda?
First of all, I think the necessity to revive coordination with Afghanistan is quite obvious, because what we can see that is a trend that Eurasian powers, Russia, China, India, should be responsible for situation in Eurasia, not the external players like US. And that's why the whole message was that we need to take things in our own hands and then solve the problem of Afghanistan ourselves within Eurasia, so it's within our home, Eurasia. And from this point of view, the situation in other hotspots of Eurasia, like North Korea or South China Sea, the message is clear that it should be solved by the powers of Eurasia themselves, and not let the external players to join. And for this, SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, can provide a great platform, because here we have different countries with different point of views, and we can solve our problems together without inviting external players.
It did in the joint statement talking about jointly handle the regional safety and security issue. However, what Dr. Mikhalev said has been quite far away from terrorism itself. You're talking about some of the geopolitical issues in the region and only be solved by players in the region, even though the root cause of it involve players from outside the region. So that would be quite an interesting statement from you. But I want you to come in, Professor Wang. Of course, there are different opinions.
Well, SCO should focus on the common threat, common interests of the member states. That basically between the SCO members cross borders crimes and extremism, terrorism. For the North Korea, they didn't mention about a joint statement. They just mentioned about the NPT principles, United Nations, laws, and
non-proliferation treaty.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because as we understand that the North Korea nuclear issues, basically the North Korea and the U.S. Their distrust and the confrontation of U.S.
security
allies.
guarantee and issues
so we cannot just rely on SCO to involve.
Another thing I want to ask, of course, has a lot to do with the expansion of SCO, its responsibilities, not just members, countries, but also the range of work they can work together. Professor Nalapat, let me go to you. Belt and Road Initiative, Eurasian Economic Corridor, and in India you have your own development plans as well. All of these are new ideas popping up over the past few years among SCO countries and new members of SCO now. How will they be interacting and linking together eventually for the joint benefits of the region? Professor Nalapat.
Well, actually, economics will follow security. Now, in the case of Afghanistan, a large number of terrorists are actually coming from another country into Afghanistan. So I think it's very important for all the SCO member states to ensure that nobody inside their territory will conduct a terror operation in another country, especially an SCO country, and that any such element that conducts terror operations in another country, especially an SCO country, will be severely punished. So I think there needs to be clear rules of the game on this matter that clearly show that no country should in any form or in any way do anything which will facilitate terror against any other country. I think SCO can make a very good beginning in this particular matter. So far as the Belt and Road Initiative is concerned, it's a very grand scheme. I would say it's one of the grandest schemes in history, frankly, and the case of China, a scheme on the scale of the Great Wall of China. But the important thing from India's point of view is India must be given the same rights as every other country in this scheme. We should be given access. Our companies should be given the means to bid for these kind of contracts, and if we are given equality of treatment, if we are given equal access, I certainly believe that these schemes will be to the benefit of India. I
Okay.
also believe that whether it's China or Russia or Pakistan or any other country, India joining in will be helpful to all of them.
All right. Professor Wang, you've been doing research a lot about the Belt and Road Initiative. I want you to respond, first of all, to Professor Nalapat from India's statements. And secondly, at this point, it seems that all plans, as we mentioned earlier, are still in this critical time. People are debating about it, brainstorming about it, doing early harvest experiments. How do we know about a possibility of linking everybody together? Professor.
Now, all the SCO members, they actually joined the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative focused on mutual connectivity and basically focused on economic cooperation to seek the foundation of the security and the peace, stability. I think this direction, is very important for all the members. And the Indian joined the SCO is very important because India has hesitated to join Belt and Road Initiative because of their Pakistan relations. And now Pakistan and India all joined the SCO. This is very important for SCO to provide a security guarantee for the Belt and Road Initiative and the mutual connectivity along the Euro-Asian continent.
And Dr. Mikhalev, in the joint statement, which I'm now trying to translate from Chinese into English right now, it is a specifically sentence and paragraph indicating about the SCO grouping's agreement on building roads and railroads for the future. Obviously, this has become quite a big topic. And meanwhile, it also talks about the Belt and Road Initiative conference held in Beijing earlier in May, and the advocates it has been providing to the member countries. Obviously, this interlink of trade, the connectivity has become quite a priority among the SCO countries. It seems only by reading this whole stack of papers, the joint statement of SCO countries this time.
It's actually quite an interesting topic about how to connect one Belt and Road Initiative and SCO. From my point of view, when we speak about Belt and Road, we never emphasize the question of security. So by linking people together, we also can link bad people together. And this is infrastructure it's a double-edged sword. So when we are building infrastructure, the infrastructure can bring terrorists together. So and this we also need to take into consideration when speaking about linking everybody together. And from this point of view, the mechanisms that SCO countries are going to create for coordinating anti-terrorism activity, anti-extremism activity. And this will secure that the Belt and Road Initiative will not only work, but will work for benefit, and I would say the bad people will not be able to make use of it. And in this way, the coordination between Belt and Road Initiative and SCO activities is crucial.
All right, Professor Wang?
It's difficult to say that bad people, good people, you cannot separate of that. The terrorism actually sometimes arranged from domestically, even including in Paris, in London, we told us. And also, I think the infrastructure mobility is easy. Maybe in the short term, of course, it brings some risks. But in the long term, I think it's very good for people understand each other to bridge the gaps and regional development gap, and also people bonds, and then help to reduce the threat of the terrorism.
All right. Just with the discussion going on among the three of you, gentlemen, you can see a lot of work needs to be done among member countries of the SCO. About this year's SCO, it's a special thing because it is an enlargement of SCO. China hopes Pakistan and India, who recently joined, will improve their relations after they are inducted as members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Let's take a closer look at the benefits of Pakistan and India's accession to the SCO.
Experts maintain the SCO can be significant for Pakistan in helping to strengthen its security against the non-conventional threat, along with seeking new opportunities for economic cooperation with regional economic and security powers. They added that Pakistan could get on good terms with India using the SCO platform.
India being a huge country, a huge volume and a huge diplomatic setup, and Pakistan comparatively having a smaller setup, but at the SCO they have been giving all offices equally.
India applied for full membership into the SCO in 2015, and all formalities from India and China have been completed.
Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a vital organization, and that's why we are joining it in the context of regional security, stability, particularly given in our neighborhood and extended neighborhood. So this is going to be the focus. Obviously, there are many aspects of this situation. So our hope and objective of joining the organization is to further the cooperation.
Pakistan and India, who until now have been observers, will be the first nations to be inducted as members since the formation of the organization. After these two countries' inclusion, the SCO will represent 40% of the world's population and 20% of global GDP.
Enlargement of SCO, Professor Nalapat, is SCO inviting problem into itself, given the relations between Pakistan and India?
Well, for one thing, that whatever problems are there have got to be faced and solved. So we cannot, we should not continue having problems. We should try and solve these problems. And so far as India and Pakistan are concerned, the Indian stand is very clear that the difficulties with Pakistan are essentially bilateral, and therefore they should not be part of a multilateral forum such as the SCO. So I do not believe that the differences between India and Pakistan will affect the SCO negatively, because India will like to take care that these differences be settled in a bilateral way. I am very hopeful that through the SCO, Pakistan will understand the benefits of trade with India. Today, for example, India has not been given the same trading rights in Pakistan as Pakistan has with India. Now, once the trading rights are given, once there is normality of trading, once there is a more normal relationship between the two countries, security will be improved for both countries. So hopefully through membership of the SCO, India and Pakistan will start having trade and commerce in a normal way, and through trade and commerce, hopefully security will improve.
Professor Wang, we all understand there's some strategic balance, in fact, when it comes to this enlargement of inviting both countries, India and Pakistan, within the SCO. So what do you make about the potential of this decision, briefly?
Very remarkable achievement for SCO since the found. And most important functions expansion that the SCO is not just limited in the Central Asia, but access to the Indian Ocean. So it's a trans-regional cooperation. I think also focus on the mutual connectivity. This is also very important, not just limited in the security cooperation. Economic cooperation and security cooperation will be the two driving forces for SCO in the long term.
And Dr. Mikhalev, we only have 40 seconds left. It is not just India, Pakistan, but also Iran, very possibly in the future, Afghanistan as well. Likely 3 billion people of population be covered for the future of SCO. What is that going to mean for the rest of the world? Briefly from you.
It's quite simple. If all these countries come together, and it will be the heart of Eurasia, it means that will be that another center of making decision will appear, and the experience of this center would be very unique, because it would be able to balance the interest of the biggest countries in the world and make something valuable for the whole world out of it. So I think if this ever happens, it will be a great new page in the history of the world, and we can only hope for this.